2025 NFL season starts today when this video comes out. I'm so excited for it. We have such a good matchup. Week one, there's a ton of good matchups week one. I'm so excited to get into it. I've been really enjoying college football. Had to pick up this hat real quick. I thought it was super clean. I am an Auburn Tigers fan. Also, by the hat, you can see I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan. These are the teams that I claim. Watching Florida State with Gus Malzahn take down Alabama last Saturday. Ooh, man, it was good. This isn't about college football, though. Obviously, this is about the NFL. I've wanted to do one of these for a while now. I'm excited that I get to do it this year. I get to just talk about football and also get some predictions out there. We can see by the end of the season if I know ball or not. Chances are I don't, but man, I could talk about football for so long. I'm going to try and keep it short for every single one. I could go into like all the analytics of every team if I wanted to. I just love football that much. Let me know down in the comments what team you claim, college or NFL. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's get into it, starting with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals are a team that I feel like should be better than they have been. On paper, they seem like they're a playoff team, but they just haven't really been performing up to what I think they should be, what many think they should be. I think the defense this year is really going to be what stands out, though. I'm not the biggest believer in Kyler Murray. Okay, so the Cardinals went 8-9 last year. So I think with an improved defense, they might break into this 10-win zone. They also have a pretty easy schedule this year, so I think I'm going to put them in the 10-13, mostly because their schedule is pretty easy, and I'm pretty bullish on their defense. Next, we have the team with the true reigning MVP, Lamar Jackson, who got absolutely robbed last year. They do have a pretty difficult schedule. I don't think they have the most difficult. I'm pretty sure that's the Giants for some reason. But they still do have a pretty difficult schedule, including the opener against the Bills in Buffalo, which is insane, by the way. I think their offense got better. I think their defense got better. I just think there's no way that they aren't going to be in this 14-plus range. Aside from the fact that they play in the AFC North, and if you know NFL football, you know that the AFC North, it's like its own league up there. Next, we have the Buffalo Bills. I think the Buffalo Bills also are going to be in this 14-win range, mostly because they don't have a terribly hard schedule. But all of the heavy hitters that they do play, they're playing them at home. And honestly, actually, I think I'm probably going to drop them down here because I also just remembered there's a lot of areas that they excelled last year, especially on defense and like creating turnovers, that generally it's hard to replicate that the next year. Usually there's like a pretty big fall off. If you're like leading the league in turnovers, chances are the next year you're probably not going to be. Also, Josh Allen, I'm pretty sure if I remember this right, benefited the most from dropped interceptions last year. So a lot of that turnover margin could flip over this year. And I don't think they got all that much better on either side of the ball. They did get a little bit better, but I think I am going to drop them down more on the 13 range. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they hit 14 plus. But that turnover margin being so massive for them last year, I think I kind of have to drop them down a bit. Carolina. I do like Carolina. I think they're still a year or two away from being real competitors. I need to see that like consistency from Bryce Young. What he did to close out the year last year was really, really good. And I think that that's something they can build upon. I think they will build upon it. I think they really improved in their wide receiver room. I think they improved the defense. I don't know if it's enough just yet. The Panthers are a team I could see them being back down here. I could see them here. I don't think they'll go above 9 wins. They do have a pretty easy schedule because they got 5 wins last year. I think I have to put them there because I think they got better. They'll have an easier schedule. I believe in Bryce Young at this point a lot more than I have in the past, so I'm going to put them in this 6 to 9 range. That feels like a good spot for them. Next is the Bears. I'm pretty bullish on the Bears. I think the team is going to rely a lot on tight ends, and I think they have two really good tight ends there in Cole Kmet, who obviously has been a solid piece for them for a few years now. And also the addition of Colston Loveland. They redid their entire offensive line. I think that offensive line is going to be really good. I think they added some really good pieces on defense. That's another team that had 5 wins last year, so I think they also have a pretty easy schedule. I think until I see more, I can't put them above this tier, but it wouldn't surprise me if they had like a really good season. Also, the division that they're in. I mean, they have to play, in my opinion, the NFC North is the best division of football. So they have to play those guys twice a year. So I'm going to put them here simply because I don't know, but I am a believer. So next we have the Bengals. Oh, the Bengals. That offense is really freaking good. They had 9 wins last year. Do I think the defense got good enough to get them more wins? Because chances are that offense is going to regress just a tiny bit, because they were a very, very good offense last year. So do I think that the defense got improved enough? Huge that they were able to bring back Hendrickson. They were also able to get Shamar Stewart signed, which I know his production in college wasn't great, but he's still very athletic. He's still able to create pressure. He just wasn't the one, getting the sacks. 1.5 sacks every single year of college. I'm going to say I'm a believer. I don't think they got that much better, but it's also kind of me thinking they can't get any worse, can they? I'll put them here. Browns. Boy, do I have absolutely no idea what the Browns are going to be this year. Their defense is obviously going to be very stout. It has been for years now. They only had 3 wins last year. I think they're roughly around the Bengals in terms of strength of schedule, though, mostly because they're in the same division, and that's a really good division. I think until the Browns can show and prove otherwise, I think I just have to put them there. There really isn't much of anything to get me excited about them. I think it's really good that they were able to bring back like key defensive pieces. I also do think it's smart to have Joe Flacco out there to just stabilize the offense for the first couple weeks until they figure out exactly what they're going to do at quarterback. I don't think Kenny Pickett is going to get in there at all. They're probably going to go with Dillon Gabriel at some point in the season, especially if they're not winning games. I don't think Shedeur is going to get to see the field all that much this year. I would like to see him more. I think he's a fun quarterback to watch. I'm rooting for him, but logically thinking, they spent more draft capital to get Dillon Gabriel than they did Shedeur. So my guess is that if things aren't going well or if Flacco gets hurt, they're going to turn to Dillon Gabriel. Unless Shedeur starts showing insane improvement in camp, or in practices, not in camp. Camp's already over. It's game week, baby. There really isn't much about this team to get me excited. They don't have Nick Chubb anymore. They did get Quinshon Judkins, but he's going through some legal stuff right now, I think. I do like Jerome Ford a lot, but other than that, until they can prove otherwise, the Browns are here. Dallas Cowboys. Losing Micah Parsons on defense, it's worst case scenario for them. Because I'm pretty sure I was listening to Mina Kimes the other day, and I think she brought up that Dallas, since Micah Parsons has been on the team, has been a generationally awful, all-time awful defense when Micah Parsons is not on the field. So with that being the case, they also don't have Dan Quinn on the defense anymore. Obviously, he's the head coach of the Commanders. I don't believe in that defense at all. The offense, I'm a tad bit more of a believer in, mostly because they got George Pickens. That's going to be a very nice 1-2 combo for them on offense. Really saves them from the fact that they don't have much of a rushing attack. Offensive line, obviously, still very good. They won 7 games last year. I think they have one of the hardest schedules this year, though. They have a top 5 hardest schedule, I'm pretty sure, this year, though. So I'm going to put them here just because of how good I think that offense can be. I'm not the biggest believer, but I'm going to put him there. Now, speaking of biggest believer, the Denver Broncos, I think, will have the best defensive football this year. I think it's between them and the Texans, or what most people think. I would also throw the Ravens in there, but Broncos are probably going to have the best defense. I think it's going to be difficult to replicate what they did last year, simply because they had such an easy schedule last year. They have a much harder schedule this year. What are they got 10 wins last year? Yeah, 10 wins last year, but against much harder competition where you're going to have to lean on Bo Nix more. I don't know that I'm a believer just yet, because of last year when they did have to lean on him, when it was on Bo Nix to go out and win the game for them. He sort of faded in those moments. I think a lot of it is also going to depend on RJ Harvey, who I am a believer in RJ Harvey. I think their run game is going to be much improved this year. But just because of the fact that they're probably going to have the top defense, they have one of the top coaches in the NFL in Sean Payton, which just pains me to say. I think I am going to put them up here in the 10 to 13 range, because I think they had one of the worst rushing offenses last year, I think. And I do believe that it will be much improved this year. So even though they'll have a harder schedule, I'm a believer. So I'm going to put them in the 10 to 13 range. Next, we have the Lions. Oh, this is another hard team, because I do believe in their personnel, but they lost both coordinators. And it's really hard to just reload two NFL head coach caliber coordinators just like that. Did I even... Okay. But they are also getting Aiden Hutchinson returning. And that defense last year was so injured. I think they punched well above their weight on defense last year. A lot of that having to do with the coordinator. How many wins did they get last year? I think, were they a 15 win? Yeah, they went 15-2 last year. One of two teams to do it. I think they also have a top 3 schedule in terms of difficulty this year. It might be 2, honestly. I don't. The only one that I remember for sure is Giants having the hardest schedule. I'm pretty sure the Aints have the easiest one, but I think I'm going to put them in 10 to 13, despite having one of the hardest schedules and also having to reload in both coordinator positions, simply because I think both coordinators they promoted from within. So it's guys who learned directly under Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Ben Johnson obviously leaving for the Bears, and then Aaron Glenn leaving for the Jets. So because they promoted the guys from within, I'm a bit more of a believer. It's probably going to be roughly the same systems, just slight tweaks on it based on the people they hired. And I also think having a much healthier defense this year with Aiden Hutchinson, if he's anything like he was last year, I think they won't reach 15 wins like they did last year, but I think they'll still be very good. All right, next we got the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, with the addition of Micah Parsons, makes that defense very scary. I think they're still missing maybe a piece or two in the secondary, but I think the offense is going to be much better too, with Golden being able to take the top off defenses, giving them that deep option, and really creating space for their other receivers to work. I think this should be a much improved offense. I think I'm also going to place them in the 10 to 13 range. Damn, man, I got a lot of teams in the 10 to 13 range. I'm going to have to start being a little bit more harsh. I'm definitely a person who tends to lean on the more positive side when it comes to football. Except if it's my own team. If it's my own team, I don't believe anything good will ever happen to me. But let's continue with the Houston Texans, who, like I said earlier, I think they're going to be in contention for the best defensive football. They reworked their offensive line. I think it'll be much better this year, as long as their receivers stay healthy. Because, oh man, that duo of Nico Collins and Tank Dell, so much fun to watch when they're healthy. This offense is electric when they're healthy. Unfortunately, they are going to be down potentially both of their running backs. Do I remember seeing that? So obviously they're not going to have Mixon. They brought in Chubb. Did he get injured or something? I swear I saw something recently. No, Nick Chubb is fine. Nick Chubb is fine. I'm on crack. I think this is going to be a much improved team. God, I want to put him 10 to 13, but now I'm worried that I'm putting too many teams in the 10 to 13 range. I have to though. All right, next the Colts. I think the AFC South is it's going to be the worst division in football. I think they've firmly taken that away from the NFC South. They now lay claim to shit mountain. I'm not as low on the Colts as I think most people are. I'm gonna put them in the 6 to 9 range. I don't think they're gonna be 0 to 5. I'm also not as doom and gloom about Daniel Jones. I think he showed flashes in New York where in the right situation with the right stability, especially in the offensive line, he's able to play at a decent level. I think they're going to have a very good run game. Their receivers obviously aren't super deep, but they're fine. I'd say they're probably around middle of the pack. But they did add Tyler Warren, which I think is going to be a massive, massive piece of that offense. Their defense, they could definitely be better, but I don't think they're utterly atrocious. I don't think it's one of the worst defenses in football. It's probably more middle of the pack. Duval. Jacksonville Jaguars. New head coach Liam Cohen from Tampa Bay, their former offensive coordinator. Here's the thing that's sort of messing with my mind about Jacksonville right now. The offensive success that they've had in Tampa Bay the last few seasons. Every time one of their offensive coordinators leaves for a head coaching position, it's like, okay, the Bucs are probably going to regress offensively. And then they turn around and start setting records for on their offense. They just have a crazy good offense. And initially I had the same exact thought, Liam Cohen leaving, this Bucs offense probably isn't going to be as good, but that's the trap that I always fall into with the Bucs. So I think it's just the Bucs offense is just good. The coordinator maybe isn't as important in Tampa Bay as it is in other places. And so I'm trying to determine how big of an impact I think Liam Cohen is going to have on this Jaguars offense. Obviously, you're adding Travis Hunter, two-way player, listed as both a cornerback and a receiver. Don't know which one he's going to play more as. He's going to be a very good piece. I think their run game is going to be very, very good. Jacksonville, I'm going to put here. It wouldn't surprise me if they go up or down, though. Also, I know if you're a Jacksonville fan, I'm sorry that I spent the entirety of the time talking about the Buccaneers, but I had to make that point so you could understand my thought process on, I don't know how much of an impact Liam Cohen is going to have to improve this offense, because I think the Bucs offense is just that good. I don't know how much of that is attributed to just the personnel and the players and their head coach as opposed to Liam Cohen. So I do apologize for that if you're a Jacksonville fan. Kansas City, they were the other team last year that had a 15-win total. I don't think they're going to do that again. I feel like they had so many freak victories last year. They snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. There's something to be said about teams that just find a way to win, and that's who the Chiefs are. They're not going to blow you away with numbers like how they used to when Tyreek Hill was there. They're not going to just utterly dominate, but they're going to win games. And I think until proven otherwise, they're going to continue to win games. I do think they're going to regress from 15. In fact, I would like to put them here, but with the Chiefs, for me, until proven otherwise, they got to be in the top. It's just plain as that. I think they are going to really miss Rashee Rice in the beginning, but with Pacheco back, I think they're going to lean a lot on that run game, and their run game was very good with Pacheco. Next, we got the Chargers, the Bolts. Man, this is another team that I could see going either way. I'm very bullish on them. I'm a big believer in the Chargers and what they've been trying to build. I also am a little biased because of Keandre Lambert-Smith, War Eagle. He was better than Ryan Williams last year, and I'll fight anybody on that. I think he's going to be a very, very good piece for this offense, for the Chargers offense. He showed glimpses of it in the preseason. I think their offensive line is going to be much improved, defense much improved, everything about them improved. How many wins did they have last season? They had 11 wins last season. Sheesh. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep him around that. That feels like a good spot, honestly. All right, next we got the Rams. Oh man, it really hinges on Matthew Stafford's health. That back injury worries me. He's also on my fantasy team, which, by the way, this is my fantasy team. I'm in a 16 team super flex league with a bunch of friends. This was one of the most fun drafts that I've ever done, and I'm really looking forward to this season in fantasy. Anyways, the Rams had 10 wins last season. They lose Cooper Kupp. I'm just really worried about that back injury. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Stetson Bennett looked pretty good in the preseason though. I'm gonna put the Rams here mostly because I just don't know. I feel like there's nothing that I'm certain of about the Rams. Sort of similar to the Jags. I think the Rams are getting like better than the Jags if they're, at their best. I could easily see the Rams up here. And another argument could be made, oh, well, you also just don't know about the Cardinals. But yeah, the Cardinals excite me though. There's something excite. Their defense excites me. You know what I mean? There really isn't much about the Rams that excite me, mostly because of that Stafford injury and also losing Cooper Kupp. Like, I know obviously you still have Puka Nakua. Oh, I just remember they got Devontae Adams too. Ooh, I may have to push them up to 10 to 13 solely off Devontae Adams. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep them around here. It's going to be around 8 to 11, somewhere in that range, I think. And I tend to go to the high range of things. I'm going to just put the Rams up here. All right, the Raiders. My gut tells me to put the Raiders here, but I'll be honest, I'm eyeing up here. They have a lot that excites me on offense. I think their defense is going to be much of the same, but I'm like so self-conscious that I've already got so many teams in the 10 to 13 range, man. How many teams won 10 to 13 games last year? Just curious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so there were 11 teams that won 10 to 13 games last year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now I'm already at 9, and I've still got all these teams to go. And, dude, their offense just excites me so much that I really want to put them 10 to 13. I think I'm gonna put them here though, mostly because of the division. Like having the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Chargers in their division. I think that's gonna force me to put them down here. But look, if they go 10 to 13, I'll eat my words happily. I'm very excited to see their offense. Next, the Dolphins. They're another team that just nothing about them excites me in the slightest. I don't think they're like dead in the water like a lot of people are saying. And as I say that, I think I'm gonna put them 0 to 5. But like, I don't know, man. How many games did they win last year? They won 8 games last year. Do I think they got better? No. So I think I'm going to have to put them here. If they lean more into like that quick passing game, I could see them back up here. And also the run game, obviously with Achane going bananas. But I don't know. I feel like their offensive line got worse. I feel like their defense got worse. And I worry about Tua's health. So I think I just have to keep him here. If I think about their division, though, obviously the Bills, and I mean, we'll get to the Patriots, but I think the Patriots are going to be a lot better. The Jets, I just have no idea about. But there's things that excite me about the Jets. There's just nothing that excites me about the Dolphins, unfortunately. I'm sitting here at war with myself mentally because I just don't know that I can see them getting less than 6 wins. I think I'm gonna put him here. Minnesota, I think their defense got better somehow. I think they're going to be a very, very good defense. I don't know a thing about JJ McCarthy though. I also think their wide receiver depth is not great right now. Obviously, I mean they just added Adam Thielen, who always adds a really, really great safety net for quarterbacks. And obviously you have Justin Jefferson. Like, it's so hard to bet against him. But that division is nasty. If I had to guess, they're probably going to be battling down here with the Bears. And I'm not putting these in any sort of order like, if they're on the left side, that means they're closer to the next tier or anything like that. I just happened to put them there by the Bears because I was talking about the Bears. I could easily see them be up here, be better. I just don't know what JJ McCarthy is going to be. If he's anything like he was in college, I think they'll be up here. But for all intents and purposes, he's a rookie in terms of like on-field play rookie, obviously. Next we got the Patriots, who I think are going to be very, very much improved. They reworked their entire offensive line, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, adding Will Campbell, very bullish on him. Their wide receiver room is still nothing to be worried about. I mean, you have Stephon Diggs now, obviously, but you just double him, and like, who else is going to do anything in that wide receiver room? Defense, I think, got better, and obviously having the coaching of Mike Vrabel automatically is going to raise the level of that defense by a lot. I think I'm going to put them up here. I think they'll be around 8 wins or so. I'm a big fan of Drake May, Travion Henderson, big fan of. I think their run game is going to be a lot improved, so they won't have to rely on the passing game as much. But yeah, this feels like a good spot. Very, very massive improvement because what they won 4 games last year. So I think they'll double that, be around 8 this year because I think they also have a pretty easy schedule. So, yeah, sorry, 1 second, just gotta. All right, moving on. I do think the Aints are going to have probably the worst record in the NFL, but in I don't want to have to say this. I don't want to say anything positive about the Aints, but I do think that their team is better than the record, especially defense, especially because they have Brandon Staley as their defensive coordinator, which, might not have been all that great as the Chargers head coach, but he's a phenomenal defensive coordinator. I think they have the personnel on defense to be a very, very solid, well-coached team. It's just the offense. I don't believe in the offense at all. Realistically, yeah, they're going to be in this range. But I will say, it would not surprise me if having the easiest schedule in football, they crept around that 6-win mark. But they're below the depths of hell. So, fuck the Aints. All right, next we get into the Giants. The Giants, like I've said a few times before, have the hardest schedule in football. I am a believer in their defense and also in their offense. I'm not going to lie. They only had 3 wins. It's so crazy that they only have 3 wins, but they have like the toughest schedule in football. That sucks. I'm going to put them up here. It honestly would not surprise me if they go like bananas mode and go up here, especially if Russell Wilson struggles a little bit and they go to Jackson Dart, who excites me a lot. But I think Russell Wilson gives them stability. He's not gonna win you ball games by himself. In fact, he'll probably lose you some ball games by himself. But still gonna be a more stable situation than Daniel Jones. I do still worry about their offensive line, but I think they have some young pieces on offense that excite me a lot. So, as well as their defense, especially that front. That defensive front is nasty. Might be the best in football. Not gonna lie to you. So I'm gonna put them there at 6-9. Jets, I'm also gonna put them here 6-9 because I don't know what they're gonna be at all, but they're a team that excites me. They still have very, very good pieces, especially on defense, but even on offense. Obviously, Garrett Wilson hasn't been very good the last few years, but he's had Aaron Rodgers the last few years. Like, come on. And that whole coaching staff in general, like on offense, not great. Their defense has been pretty good. They do lose their defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich. Obviously, he's with Atlanta now. They got Steve Wilkes as their defensive coordinator, who I'm a believer in personally. So I think their defense is going to be solid. Don't really know what their offense is going to be like, but I think they have nice pieces. So we'll keep them there 6-9. Next, we got the Eagles. Obviously, Eagles are, until further notice, they just keep reloading every piece they lose, somehow getting better every year. Worry a little bit about Saquon after the year he had last year, but he could just be an absolute freak, just like Derrick Henry, and never ever slow down. So that's kind of what I'm banking on. Also, their defense, obviously, incredible. There really isn't a whole lot that needs to be said about that right there. Pittsburgh Steelers. I am not a believer in Aaron Rodgers in the slightest. I think he's the most overrated quarterback in NFL history. He does not belong anywhere near GOAT conversations. and you can go argue with a wall about that. They lost Najee Harris, obviously. Excuse me. They still have Jalen Warren, who I think he's solid. I'm also a believer in what Caleb Johnson could potentially do. I don't know that he's going to be like a standout back off rip. He might take some time to really show what he can do. Defense obviously is going to be very good. I think the defense got better. They were able to return all of their defensive front. They were able to improve in the back. Oh, they have DK Metcalf now too, who I think is going to fit what they want to do on offense better than George Pickens. I just worry about Aaron Rodgers leading that offense. But at the same time, as Mike Tomlin, you're going to get at least 8 to 9 wins. I think 9 is over 500 or over. I don't think there is a 500 anymore because there's 17 games. So I think 9 is probably where they'll live. Wouldn't expect me if they reach 10 somehow because of weird devil magic that always goes on in Pittsburgh. But again, not a whole lot there to excite me. The Steelers are a very boring team, but they win games. That's undeniable. So Seattle Seahawks, I don't think they did enough for their offensive line. Losing DK Metcalf really sucks. I think I'm gonna put them 0 to 5. Their defense is really nice though. I mean, that's to be expected because of Mike McDonald. I just really don't know what that offense is gonna be. They're probably gonna lean on the running game a lot more, which I believe in Kenneth Walker 100%. I just worry about the O-line, and I worry they don't have Tyler Lockett anymore because he's with Tennessee now, I think. I'll move him up there, but I have no idea what their offense is going to be. So San Francisco, I'm going to put up in 10 to 13 because they're going to have a really easy schedule, and they were just decimated with injuries last year. That's the only reason that they were that bad. Their wide receiver room is still honestly getting decimated with injuries. Their running back room is getting annihilated with injuries right now as we speak. Aside from McCaffrey, which is weird to say. They lost pieces on defense. Because of how easy I think their schedule is going to be, I was going to put them 10 to 13 and not think twice about it, but I might put them down here simply because of injuries, and they lost pieces on defense that I don't think they were able to cover for. Do still have George Kittle. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep them 6 to 9. There's just so many injuries. It's really hard for me to put them any higher. Fuck it. No, I'm going to put them 10 to 13. Fuck it. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That offense is going to be really good. They're not going to have Tristan Wirfs or Godwin for the first few games, probably. Their defense got better. I think they filled the hole on edge. As long as their defense stays healthy, that was kind of what screwed them over last year. Just injuries and key pieces on defense and offense. They also added Emeka Egbuka, who I'm very excited to see. Well, I'm not excited to see him because he's on the Bucks, but I'm excited to see him play in the NFL. And obviously Baker Mayfield. I mean, it's so hard not to put them in the 10-win column. They had 10 last year, and obviously they have the three-headed beast in their running back room. That's just insane. I think they have kind of a difficult schedule this year, though, so I think I'm gonna drop them down to like around 9 wins. Also, like I said earlier, new offensive coordinator. We'll see. That doesn't really have much impact on where they are now because, like I said earlier, I just believe in their offense. But next we have the Tennessee Titans. I know it's like the big meme that Cam Ward is like the least talked about first overall pick of all time. But there really just isn't anything about that offense that's exciting. I mean, they have Lockett, they have Calvin Ridley, who I think make a very good duo. They have Tyjae Spears, Pollard for their running backs, who are decent. I don't know anything about their defense, though, I'll be honest. I'm at a complete loss on their defense. I have no idea. Listen, there were 10 teams who were in this 0-5 bracket last year. And that's probably why there are so many teams up here in like the 10 range. Yo, does my list suck? 'Cause I'm about to put the Titans like here. Tell you what, I think I'm going to move the Giants down. I'm going to move the Dolphins down. Let's move the Jags and Colts down. I think this looks a little bit better. Going to move San Francisco down. All right, next we got the Washington Commanders. Obviously, like one of the most unexpectedly successful teams last year. Their defense is still kind of suspect, but honestly, I think their offense is going to be even better this year. I don't think Jayden Daniels is going to take a step back at all. I'm just going to go ahead and put them up there. Really isn't a whole lot to say about them. They got McLaurin returning. They got Debo. Their running back room is very interesting because obviously they get rid of Brian Robinson, who's now with San Francisco. So Austin Eckler is their starter. And then they got two guys that I've never heard of. And then, of course, the preseason belle of the ball, Bill Krosky Merritt, who I missed out on in the fantasy draft. And I'm upset about it. But they have him as the fourth string, so it's kind of crazy. But anyways, I feel like this one shouldn't be that much of a surprise. Maybe they take a step back because they did win a lot of really close games. Like a weird amount of really close games. So it wouldn't surprise me if they go down here, but they're such an exciting team to watch, and I'm feeling very positive towards them, so I'm going to put them up here. Alrighty, last but definitely not least, we have the Atlanta Falcons. Oh man, they're such a wild card team. Like, of course, with my bias, I'm saying we're going like 16-1. I'm just that excited about this team. But as for when I try to take the bias out of it, losing Caleb McGarry and Storm Norton both for the entire season. I'm pretty sure Storm Norton's the entire season too. It does have me worried, but I feel confident that whoever gets plugged in there, I believe it's Wilkins. I believe he's the one who's going to be filling in for at that right tackle position. I feel confident that he'll be able to do a good enough job, especially with how Atlanta's offense is. It's mostly in pistol. So it really alleviates that right tackle position from being the blind side for Michael Penix because he's a lefty, obviously. I think the offensive weapons are too great to ignore. There's too many of them. Very similar to the Bucs offense. I think the defense is going to be much improved with the addition of James Pierce Jr., who I think is going to be a Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate. Abdul Carter's probably going to win that one because of how nasty that entire Giants line is. But James Pierce Jr. showed a lot of flash in preseason, showed a lot of promise. Haven't really gotten to see Jalen Walker much because of injuries and stuff like that, but I think he'll be fine. Having Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman starting has me very, very excited. And then obviously you have JB3, who in my opinion is the best safety in football. A little bit of bias, but I'm really excited to see what he can do when the team can actually get pass rush. So teams might be forced to throw balls a little bit more inaccurately, a little sooner, allow him to be able to play the ball a bit more. I'm excited to see if Mike Hughes and Clark Phillips make a jump this season. I think they played very well down the stretch last season in corner position. Obviously, AJ Terrell. I think he's going to have another very good season. It is difficult for me to see this team getting less than 10 wins. I think our schedule is easy enough. We have a real chance this year, and I'm going to be very upset if we don't win the division, or at the very least make the playoffs as like a wild card. But there it is. That is my 2025 season NFL predictions. Man, that's a lot of 6 to 10 win teams. But like I said, there's so many of these teams that I could see going up or down. Like, I'm feeling very hopeful about a lot of these teams. There's a lot of these teams that really excite me, which I think is why I have so many teams so high. Even the ones that I ended up moving down here, I still think they could easily be up in this range. I'm just so happy football is back, man. I get to sit here and yap about football, bro. Let me know down in the comments how you think this list is. Don't forget to claim your team. Very important. I don't think I'm going to do any like weekly prediction type of things during the season. I will probably be talking about it in different videos and streams and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I'm just so happy football's back. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.